So amidst all the chatter today in the Call of Duty world, primarily being all about Blackout, we finally got the full map given to us here. The teasers actually came in and finally finished up. I myself even got DM'd by Call of Duty, one of the pieces of the map. But while we ended up getting that full map, we are going to be still getting a lot of Blackout content throughout the week. So I wanted to take a little break away from this here and talk to you guys about the update that we got yesterday for Covert Storm within World War II and give you guys everything that really changed as a result with this. Because there is a lot that is primarily cosmetic things, but there are things that also you may not have known about that did change around with this update as of yesterday. So playing a little recap here at this one, we primarily do these everything that changed a day after anyway, just so we can take the time and make sure nothing else was thrown in the mix there as well that we may have missed if we were to do it at say an hour or two after the update went live. But regardless, we'll be talking about everything that changed here at this and let you know all that you need to. So that said, let's just jump right into it. The first and probably most prominent thing added with Operation Covert Storm were new collections, and along with that, new weapons. Now, as for the collections themselves, we have 4 in the Covert Storm section, and we also have 2 within Operation Overlord. So breaking those down a little bit further, you'll end up firstly having the Russian Operator Collection reward available for the Commando Division, and then it will have various items underneath that you'll need to unlock before that. After the Red Shadow Collection, you end up having the British Infiltrator Spy Hunter uniform given as a Commando Division uniform as well, with, again, its own underlying unlocks beneath it. In addition to those 2 uniforms, we also have 2 of the brand new weapons, the Proto X1 as well as the VMG 1928. Now, these are of course actually rather easy to obtain in the grand scheme of things. Whenever you take a look at all you have to do if you were to just buy them outright, it's right around the 40,000 armory credit mark, which previously, if you guys remember back to Days of Summer, I believe it was right around 60,000 or something like that for 2 of the weapons in the Days of Summer collection as of the last event. So a lot cheaper this time around, and of course, with them being both pretty awesome out of collections, honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. The Proto X1 is right around 22,000 armory credits, and then the VMG is right around 18,000 armory credits. But the Antimatter Proto X1, of course, is probably my favorite of the 2. I think it might even be my favorite variant in the game overall. As well, then also the VMG's Isotope variant you can end up getting is pretty solid as well. It's a pretty cool animated camo, and of course, the atomic looking design with it is rather fitting as well. Slightly switching over to the Operation Overlord collections, there were 2 added here with this one being the Vaccine Epic AS44 variant, which looks pretty solid, but of course, I'm still looking for the Speed Demon, as well as the Bear 2. I think those are probably the 2 best AS44 variants that we've seen in the game at the moment. And then the other collection deals with, again, another Commando Division uniform, that being the Polish Spec Ops entitled Sleeper Agent, which looks pretty cool, and of course, this will now tie into the other things that we'll talk about later on in the video about more uniforms finally being added in for the Commando Division. But while we saw our first little look at what you can actually buy outright for the new weapons, we also ended up getting new weapon variants across the board for the 3 new weapons, the AS44, the Proto X1, and the VMG 1927. That said, the Proto X1 starts us out with the Pacific Front 2, which is an awesome looking one. It's obviously the heroic version here with it being the Pacific Front 2, but with that we also end up seeing that we'll have a lot more of a sleeker design, a nice metallic design with a nice wood finish. The Antimatter, like we said, was the one you can actually buy outright. It's the experimental weapon variant, if you will, and it has essentially dark matter on it. I think that's probably one of the coolest factors about this and makes it one of the best weapons in my books. Then we also end up seeing the Rare Earth variant, which has a relatively similar pattern that we've seen beforehand with a lot of other weapon variants in the game. And then we finally have the base Proto X1, which will more than likely be available via contracts at some time in the near future. We ended up seeing that we got a new weapon contract with this update, so we're moving further into the life cycle for getting newer weapons as the contracts. So who knows, maybe we'll see the Proto X1 in about 3 weeks time or so here at this one. But then we also see that the VMG has a few new variants with it. The first one listed is the 226, which is another nice, cool, sleek looking design, even for an epic variant. Then we have the Mold Breaker 2, which reminds me almost of the Stinger variant, the heroic variant that comes along with that one, with the gold and silver plating, but of course wood stock that's real nice and clean. The Isotope is of course the one that we ended up seeing from the collections, where it's the atomic design with it, but also the moving camo included within that. Then we have the Ravenous, which is again the same standard design as we see across a lot of different variants, and the base VMG 1927 is of course therefore presumably what will be again another weapon contract. The final weapon we end up getting more variants finally given to us for is the AS44. We already had the base out of the Commando Division Prestige reward. Then the Vaccine is available in Operation Overlord. Speed Demon is one that is a close call for my favorite of the AS44 variants, but this will probably only be available in supply supply drops. The Bear 2 as well was added in, a very, very nice gold and wood texture with that one. But the predecessor is the final one that was added in, and that one probably will be very similar to what we saw with the ZK, how we ended up having the base weapon variant given with the Division, but then we'll see a contract giving the Epic variant in place of that at some point in the near future. So I'd expect the predecessor to be that one that goes up with Captain Butcher or with Corporal Green, depending on the time that it ends up going live. After that, we ended up seeing a bunch of new camos added into Call of Duty World War II. We had a handful of them added into Operation Overlord. We ended up having one as well given in the collections for Covert Storm, that one being called Retro Future, which is a cool little design here with this one. But then additionally, we also end up seeing the camos of Electric Blue, Bunker, Amphibious, Power Surge, Atomic, Gilded Dragon, Bubble Wrap, and then Redacted as the Community Challenge camo that will be granted at a later point. Now, all of these are pretty cool in their own rights. Of course, the only ones that I'm necessarily massively in love with are probably Atomic, maybe Amphibious as well. Electric Blue is a little too out there for my taste, but the others just, to me, are nice, but I don't know if I would sport them all that much. As for Redacted, I'm all for this one. It's a cleaner or more minimalistic design here with this one, but still kind of that cool design of what you'd see in documentation for a Black Ops or something like that, with different pieces of information scratched out and redacted as the name suggests. So that'll be cool to see that one. That'll be granted at some point in the near future to all of us, simply because all we have to do is take part in the game and log on before that camo is earned via Community Challenge to end up getting it across the board. So make sure you do that if you want to take advantage of that one. But then we also end up seeing a bunch of new uniforms. Primarily, a lot of them are for the Commando Division, but you do have a few that were added in for all divisions. But you end up having the British Infiltrator, the Polish Spec Ops, the Russian Operator, and then you also have that Axis Default as well. So there's a bunch that were added in, each with their own subsequent designs, a couple for each classification for the Commando Division. And again, you also have a few custom tailored for each of the other divisions as well. So if you guys are looking for some ways to customize your character in Commando, now's your best chance to do so. Following customization, let's talk about some other things that were added in. We talked about earlier in the video that yesterday we ended up getting a new weapon contract, this one being for the Automaton, which I'm personally going to take full advantage of, because unfortunately this is one of the few weapons I actually don't have. Again, telling a little backstory that probably doesn't matter. I ended up being so indecisive with last event's weapon drops between that as well as the 3-line sniper that I just didn't choose one at all. So it's nice to see this being a newer weapon added in via contracts, and all you have to do is get 50 kills while crouched or prone. You have an hour and 40 minutes time frame, one of the longer contracts if I'm not mistaken, and it only costs you 5,000 armory credits to get that. So if you don't have any of the variants and you're like me, this is a great opportunity to take advantage of the Automaton rifle, which from what I've heard is a mixed bag of reviews. I've heard some people really love it and I've heard some people really hate it. So I mean, if you don't have any variants right now and you have some armory credits to burn, why not go for it? After that, we end up getting a few new weapon orders, but really not all that many regarding Covert Storm in particular like I had initially thought. Previously, I thought we'd end up seeing some bribes given in the weeklies as well, but we only have one bribe given overall each day, and that's one of the complete 35 multiplayer matches. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of these because they do take so much time, and of course, if they are something you do activate on a regular basis, it takes away from the amount of slots you have to activate other orders, so it kind of just jumbles up your inventory of orders. But this is something that these actually don't have any bottom out for these, so you can end up doing these one a day if you end up completing 35 matches a day for the rest of the event. So you can realistically, again, all grinding considered, you could end up probably getting everything from all of the Covert Storm collections just via bribes if you were to somehow complete 35 matches a day every day of the event. That said, if you want to grind out a lot of these and get a bunch of them stocked up, Infected is probably your best friend to do so. It's about 2 to 3 minutes per game and then a turnaround of between lobby times, maybe 5 to 6 minutes at most. So you can end up grinding out a bunch in the time that you would normally in another area. But that said, this is the only real order that's only specific for Covert Storm. After that, we had the loot for the new Community Challenge added in. There's one slight asterisk on that, and we'll talk about that in just a second. The first thing that you can end up viewing, and that will be the first unlock for the Community Challenge, is the Boots Off the Ground calling card. Now, I'm all for the meme of itself, but it's a cool little calling card if I'm honest with you. So we'll get that for free very soon here, probably as we complete that up within the next few days of Tier 1. After that, we end up seeing that we'll have a Tier 2 of the Ray Gun Weapon Charge charm, and this is actually the only one that was not added in. We still don't see this just yet. There were a few other zombies weapon charms added in, and then also one we'll talk about in just a second for ranked play added in, but the ray gun itself was not added in, so that'll be tier 2. We'll see that one probably hot fixed in here whenever it comes out. But then we also end up seeing the third tier is the redacted camo. That's again a brilliant camo, and we already showcased it here a little bit in the video. Then after that, we have a tier 4 of a special helmet of the French Adrian prototype helmet, which is pretty cool looking. I think that I'll sport this one off when it comes time to unlock this, and we all have it. But then the final and 5th tier of the community challenge is the Waffenschmiede 2 WAF 28 variant. The heroic of that is going to finally be added in. Even if you don't use the WAF 28, it'll still probably be worth a few goes because it just looks so good in my opinion. The final thing that was added in, actually content-wise, was that of the new loot via ranked play. So this, you'll end up having 2 things you can end up doing. These are actually for stringing together wins in ranked play. The first one being the Freelo calling card. Now this is going to task you with winning 3 ranked play matches in a row. If you do that, you unlock the Freelo calling card. But if you can keep that going, you can extend that win streak to 5 ranked play matches in a row. You'll end up being able to unlock the Freelo weapon charm. Both of these are cool in their own rights, of course. They're custom tailored to a very small subset potentially of World War II, but of course, if you want to try and go for them, they're definitely obtainable here with this. So check those out if you guys haven't done so already. And the final thing that was actually added in, but not really content-wise, was that of the Covert Storm starter bundle for 2,400 COD points. Now, I personally don't support these. I'm not a fan of buying COD points at all, but just for the sake of covering everything that was added in, the Covert Storm starter bundle was added in. If you guys are interested in that, it gives you 1 guaranteed Covert Storm item because it gives you a bribe. It'll then give you 10 rare items, 200 armory credits, and 60 minutes of double XP. So that was added in. One thing that I do want to mention though, also on top of this, is that there seems to maybe have been an armory credit buff for the daily login bonus. I don't know if this is just me and I've gotten stupidly lucky, but the past 2 days of 3, I've gotten just for logging on for my daily streak, 1,250 armory credits and 1,500 armory credits respectively. So I don't know if that's my daily bonus bugging out or I got incredibly lucky or whatever it may be. Maybe it's just a fluke. So it's happened 2 of 3 days as of recently. So maybe check yours to see if yours was actually buffed as well. But that said, a final note before we wrap up the video, some things that weren't changed were 1, headquarters. That's still the same. It's the same launch headquarters as what we saw all the way back in November. Days of Summer ended up, and since then we haven't seen anything. I was kind of surprised we didn't see a redesign for this event in particular, but then we also ended up seeing that there's no crafting that was mentioned. That was a leak as of a couple of days ago that was supposed to be coming out as of this update, and we also don't have any new game modes as of yet. So I don't know if that'll be something that we see Weekend Warfares introduce new ones, but as it stands currently, as of Wednesday the 5th, that's not something we have any new game modes on. But that said, that's everything that did change and of course didn't change. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. There was a lot to talk about here, so is there anything in particular out of this update you guys really enjoyed in additions or anything that you guys really are looking forward to coming up? Whatever it is, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, Blackouts betas coming very soon. World War II will of course keep you guys up to date with any and all things you need to know about the game. So if any of that interests you, of course, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. If you guys also want to follow me over on Instagram, a little more active over there, so that link is down there as well. So if you guys want to follow, feel free to check it out. With that said, hopefully you guys had a fantastic day. Thank you all so much for watching. Mine is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.